Picture this, a colossal stone arena, standing proud for nearly 2,000 years, a symbol of immense power and astonishing engineering. Welcome to the heart of ancient Rome, the Colosseum. Today, we're not just looking at ruins, we're stepping back in time to uncover the epic story of its creation, its glory days, and its eventual transformation. How did this architectural marvel come to be? What secrets are held within its ancient walls? Join me as we journey through the rise and fall of the world's most famous amphitheater. Our story begins in the year 69 AD, a chaotic period in Roman history known as the Year of the Four Emperors. After a bloody civil war, a new dynasty emerged, the Flavians, led by Emperor Vespasian. Rome was fractured, and Vespasian needed a grand gesture to win over the people and solidify his rule. His predecessor, the infamous Emperor Nero, had built a lavish private estate called the Domus Aurea, the Golden House, right in the center of Rome, complete with an artificial lake. This was a symbol of tyranny and self-indulgence. Vespasian had a brilliant idea. He would drain the lake and, in its place, build a magnificent public amphitheater, a gift to the Roman people. It was a masterful political move, reclaiming public land for public entertainment and erasing the memory of a despised tyrant. Construction began around 72 AD. This wasn't just a building project. It was a monumental undertaking that showcased the might and wealth of the Roman Empire. Much of the funding came from the spoils of war, particularly from the Great Jewish Revolt and the sacking of Jerusalem in 78. Tens of thousands of prisoners of war were brought to Rome and forced into labor, quarrying and transporting the massive travertine limestone blocks from quarries over 20 miles away. It's a somber thought that this symbol of entertainment was built on the back of immense human suffering. The engineering behind the Colosseum was nothing short of genius. Imagine building a structure that could seat an estimated 50,000 to 80,000 spectators, and not just seat them, but get them in and out quickly. The architects designed 80 entrances at ground level, allowing the massive crowds to enter and exit in a matter of minutes. This system of vomitoria, or passageways, is so effective that its principles are still used in modern stadium design today. The structure was a complex combination of arches and vaults, a Roman architectural specialty which distributed the immense weight and provided structural integrity. They used different materials for different levels, heavy travertine for the main pillars and facade, and lighter tufa, stone, and brick-faced concrete for the upper levels and vaults. Vespasian sadly didn't live to see his masterpiece completed. He passed away in 79 AD, and his eldest son Titus took over. Titus finished the construction and inaugurated the Colosseum in 80 AD, with a spectacular series of games that lasted for 100 days. The historian Cassius Dio tells us that during these inaugural games, over 9,000 wild animals were killed. It was an unprecedented display of extravagance designed to awe the Roman populace. Titus's younger brother Domitian later added the top tier of seating and the hypogeum, the elaborate underground network of tunnels and chambers beneath the arena floor. Now, let's talk about what actually happened inside. The Colosseum was the epicenter of Roman entertainment, but it was a brutal form of entertainment. The day's events often started in the morning with venations, or wild animal hunts. Exotic beasts from across the empire, lions, tigers, bears, elephants, rhinos, were pitted against each other or against armed hunters called bestiarii. The hypogeum was key to these spectacles. It housed the animals and gladiators, and a complex system of elevators and trapdoors allowed them to be lifted directly into the arena, creating surprising and dramatic entrances that would thrill the crowd. The midday period was reserved for public executions. Condemned criminals, prisoners of war, and others deemed enemies of the state faced gruesome fates. They were sometimes thrown to the animals, a practice known as damnatio ad bestias, or forced to participate in elaborate and deadly reenactments of historical or mythological events. This was a stark and public reminder of the power of Roman law and the consequences of defiance. But the main event, the one everyone came to see, was the gladiatorial contests. These took place in the afternoon. Gladiators were typically slaves, criminals, or prisoners of war, but some were free men who volunteered, seeking fame and fortune. They were highly trained athletes, each specializing in different types of weapons and armor, like the Riciarius with his net and trident, or the heavily armored Milo. Contrary to what many movies show, not every fight ended in death. Gladiators were valuable assets to their owners, and a thumbs-down gesture from the crowd or the editor of the games did always mean death. It could simply mean put the sword down, signifying a defeat. However, the risk of death was ever present, and the sand of the arena floor was constantly soaked with blood. The Colosseum was more than just a venue for bloodshed. It was a microcosm of Roman society. Seating was strictly hierarchical. The best seats, right near the arena, were reserved for the emperor, senators, and vestal virgins. As you moved up the tiers, the social status of the spectators decreased. The equestrians, or knights, sat above the senators. Then came ordinary Roman citizens. And finally, at the very top, in the wooden nosebleed seats, sat the lower classes, foreigners, and women. It reinforced the social order with every event. The games were also a way for emperors to maintain popularity, providing panem et chitchenses, bread and circuses, to keep the population happy and distracted from political issues. For nearly 4 centuries, the Colosseum was the heart of Rome. But as the Roman Empire began to decline, so did the Colosseum. The rise of Christianity played a significant role. The brutal games were seen as incompatible with Christian values, and gladiatorial combat was officially banned in 438 AD. The last recorded animal hunts took place in the 6th century. The empire's economic troubles also meant that the massive cost of staging the games and maintaining the building became unsustainable. After its life as an arena ended, the Colosseum's story took another turn. It was damaged by several major earthquakes, particularly a devastating one in 1349 that caused the entire outer south wall to collapse. For centuries, the abandoned structure became a giant quarry. Its marble, travertine stone, and metal was systematically plundered and repurposed for other buildings across Rome, including St. Peter's Basilica and various palaces. It was also used as a fortress by noble families, a housing complex, workshops, and even a Christian shrine. The Colosseum's preservation began in the 18th and 19th centuries, as popes and archaeologists started to recognize its immense historical and cultural value. Restoration efforts began, clearing out the debris that had filled the arena floor and reinforcing the remaining structure. This is when it truly began its transformation into the iconic historical monument we know today. Today, the Colosseum stands as a powerful, albeit damaged, testament to Roman ingenuity and ambition. It attracts millions of visitors each year who walk its ancient corridors and gaze down into the arena, trying to imagine the roar of the crowd and the clash of steel. It's a symbol not just of Rome, but of the heights of human achievement and the depths of human cruelty. It reminds us of a world so different from our own, yet one that laid the foundations for so much of Western civilization. It's a place of history, tragedy, and awe-inspiring architecture. So the next time you see a picture of the Colosseum, remember, it's not just an old ruin. It's a story written in stone, a story of emperors and slaves, of spectacle and survival, a story that continues to captivate us 2,000 years later. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the past. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe for more historical deep dives, and let me know in the comments what ancient wonder you'd like to explore next. See you in the next video.